Alex.
We could almost
can I
speak in
just
Lithuanian.
first of all, I would like to just introduce our topics and we move forward. Okay. So good morning. Hello, dear participants. So today we continue our webinar sessions for incubators and startups, business and application of ICT. So yesterday the Inga touched very important topic. It's a changes in during the COVID and post-COVID inside the organizations and strategic approach of the company during the crisis, and also how companies can move faster to digitalization process or to businesses. So today our session is more practical and related to marketing and how to validate products online, because it's a very important topic for startups. So they a lot of time they spending on product creation without any validation and without any relationship with their customers. So Dr. Donatas Sionikas will present topic in marketing and validation of startup ideas. And I think he briefly introduced himself and also the books which is related to mentioned topics for today. So Donatas, the floor is yours and you can start your own presentations. Welcome.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
I'd like to just remind that this is not even the training. This is a session for exchange our network, exchange our ideas and practices. So you don't hesitate, you can ask directly, ask questions, and then we can start like a today dialogue between each other, between two countries. So Donatas, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks. So for sure, you can ask me any questions at any time. Just stop me, just tell what's on your mind, what needs additional clarification, or if there are any other thoughts that might be needed to discuss. So, okay, let's roll and let's dive deeper into our today's topic, how to validate startup business idea using digital marketing. And today I will gonna cover three major topics. So first of all, why do startups fail in sales? Top 7 reasons. And these reasons are not just out of my mind, but these reasons are actually based on longitudinal research. The second part of our today's topic is about the 4 core marketing principles. Like it doesn't have to be complicated. If a startup founder thinks about these 4 core principles, more or less everything else falls into the right place. And finally, we will arrive to the founder's roadmap, how to successfully start sales or just, let's say, validate your idea. Because if you don't have sales, you don't have the startup. You don't have a startup product or startup idea validation until you have actual sales or at least the intentions of purchase. So I will briefly skip my introduction, who am I, what I did, and etc. etc. Let's dive deeper into the topic. And on the go, I could share some thoughts on my personal experience and on my experience based on the research of startups. So these reasons were figured out during the global research of startups that covered more than 1,000 startups. If to be very precise, it's based on 1,447 startups all around the world. I did this research in order to write the book Startup Evolution Curve, a marketing manual for startups, which eventually became actually one of top 5 best-selling books on Amazon in startup category and in business innovation categories. So the research took the scope really globally. When people ask me, Donatas, where did you manage to find 1,000 startups in Lithuania or in Baltics? I said I was not looking for startups in Baltics. I was looking in all around the world. So this is really global research. And it was taken the experience from startups from all different regions, different countries, and we even found some discussions that, for instance, startups from Latin America, from South America, said that these methods that are very famous, popular, and well accepted in the United States don't work in Latin America because of their market specifics. But okay. These topics that we are going to cover today are universal and they fit almost in any country and almost in any industry. So let's dive into main reasons why startups fail in sales, why their startup idea is not validated. So first of all, would you like to buy this stuff? Well, it's some kind of an innovation. It's a product. It was never done before, but well, would you pay your own money for this? So the first reason is product. Too many startups are building products that nobody wants. It means you try to build something that was not initially validated, that has the demand in the market. The second reason, well, is it really the best fit? Come on, maybe it looks cute, but target segments, target customers might be another reason why startups are stuck on sales. And if startups have even actually really good products, really great product, but if they target wrong clients, they will definitely have significant issues in sales. The third reason is actually related to price and even monetization model. So generally speaking, how do clients react to your price and your pricing monetization model? And if you choose wrong revenue model, not necessarily speaking just about the size of the price, it might be the doom of a startup. That, well, if you might even waste your money out, or you might block your road to successful sales by choosing wrong revenue model and wrong pricing strategy. The fourth reason is also related directly to marketing. So do your target customers understand what you say? So the message. Most startups that are stuck on sales lack a clear and appealing communication, even though the first three reasons are not actual in their case. What I mean by that, so the startup can have really good product. They might target really great segment that has that need, and their pricing and revenue model might be also okay. But if they can't explain, if they can't spread the message about their product, so their target customers simply don't be aware of that product, and the startup won't have any significant sales. The next reason, do you really know how these sales in startups are actually done? So it's not enough to read the manual and say, well, we will have great sales, well, we will build awesome product and everything's going to be fine about that. No. So you need to know the process, how actually sales are done. And in this manual for business incubators we covered the topic about B2B sales. And this is really helpful for most startups, especially if they target to B2B sales, or even if they are in B2C market, but they still need distribution channels to cover it. Yeah, it's a good saying that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So another reason for startups that are stuck on sales, that don't have enough significant level of sales, is the attitude and the passive mindset. So if startup tries to sell, to pitch the idea for 5 times, for 10 times, and they still get no, it's very difficult for them to move forward. So those who are mentors for startups, those who take care about startup fostering ecosystem, business incubators, accelerators, they need to have this in mind, that mindset in startup world is really very powerful tool, and we need to cherish it. We need to help startups to have positive mindset, not just like a dumb positivity, like, come on, everything's gonna be okay, no matter what I'm doing, no matter, sorry for the expression, no matter what of shit I have built. No, but you still need to be positive. You need to go not to 10, but maybe to 100 potential customers to get one yes. And today we're gonna cover the topic, how to be that wisely positive person, how to validate your idea without being like stuck on wrong product. And finally, are these startups still waiting for something to happen? Well, it's not good, and it's not really sufficient solution to build just a product and then wait for customers to come. No, you need to go outside the building even before building the product. Try to get your first customers even before building the product. So that's the ideal case. So if we see these top 7 reasons, it's not difficult to notice that first 4 reasons are directly related to market validation and to marketing, product, segment, pricing, and message. And in the third part of our today's workshop, I will show you the founder's roadmap, how these four issues might be checked in advance before even building the product, and how we can do that by using online tools and building your MVP that is combined from landing page and sales or lead funnels. Okay, now let's get down to our second topic, core principles in startup marketing. What we should understand that startup is not just a smaller version of a regular, a traditional company. And there are four key principles in marketing that we have in mind. So first of all, research matters. Second, focus on building value. Third, fail fast in marketing, not in business, but in marketing. And fourth, start marketing with a small budget. So let's get into each of those, like get into tiny details about each of those. So first of all, research matters. When I did that global research of more than 1,000 startups, more than 80% of startups were ready to go or already on the market. So it means like they already have something to sell. They are already in the market, or like they are just one step from launching their product. 33%, almost 34% have evaluated their business environment, but only 18% did it in the right way and had the needed data. What does that mean? That most startups, like 4 out of 5 startups, go into the market without having where actually they are going and what kind of environment they're going to face. And competitors are not the only one factor, is not the only one factor that you need to be aware of. So, well, market research is like a diagnosis before cure, a very known saying. And what do you actually need to figure out before starting to build your product, before starting to develop your startup solution? So first of all, market size. So how many potential customers there are in the market, and is it realistic to reach all of them? Is it profitable enough? If you can't find large enough and profitable enough market, maybe it might be a sign that it's not very wise to spend your time and money and building something that doesn't have a demand in the market, that when the market size is not enough. The second part is competitors. So how unique and how appealing is your offer? Customers always have alternatives. Even we should have in mind that even the most innovative products also have competitors. What competitors I mean by that? Indirect competitors. For instance, if you introduce very innovative product, simply ignoring that product and solving that problem in the old ways, or even ignoring the problem, is also your competitor. It means that your potential customers' mindset is your competitor. So every startup has competitors, whether it's real business entity, whether it's an old way of solving the same problem, or even simply ignoring it. The third piece of market research that we need to cover is related to price levels. Remember, one of the major reasons of failure in sales is related to pricing and to monetization. So here we are not talking like how to figure out how much should I charge for my product, but generally, are customers used to pay such amount? Well, like this guy, is it a usual price to pay $5,000 for a coffee machine? Is it normal price or not? Come on. So if you will build some innovative stuff and you will try to charge extra more than your customers are used to pay for, well, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you will have to prove arguments and to provide why it is worth it. And it will be much more difficult for you to do that. So knowing in advance what price level is normal in that business area, in that industry, will help startups to adjust their whole strategy. And one of the last and major things in market research are channels. So how to sell and through which channels, how much it will cost for us to acquire a new customer. Well, there was a big myth maybe 3 or 4 years ago when startups said, well, we will go viral. We will make some viral videos, or we will go into social media, make some posts, and people will start sharing our awesome stuff. Come on, guys, how many brands are you using today, and how many of those brands are you recommending to anyone? Are these brands bad, or why? Probably you're using multiple brands, but you are not recommending today any of those brands. So why the hell should somebody recommend our startup to their friends, to their family, and to their colleagues? So we need to figure out what are possible channels. And today we also dive into into this area, how this could be tested through building sales or lead funnels. So generally what it means, market research. If we have market size, if we know main competitors, if we know price level, if we know channels, we can at least primarily say, is it feasible or not? If you don't have data on these 4 core points, it doesn't make sense to continue any further. Why? Because you will have to figure out answers on the go, and it will be more frustrating and probably more complicated to figure out that on the go. So if it's good to go, well, we will proceed to the next principle. If you see that at least one of those four market research principles are not covered yet, your startups, your curated startups should do their homework and should cover all these 4 principles. So the next principle is focus on building value. Value proposition design and design thinking is also covered in the manual because it's vital topic for startups. So actually 42% of startups were trying to address serious problems and create really amazing value for their target market, but they didn't test it or test it in the wrong way. It means 40% of startups try to create the really good value, but they are not sure if they are building actual value for their target customers or not yet. So it's not enough to understand the core principles and methodology of design thinking. You need to test that in the market. So the main point here is that customers buy value, not products or features. So our startups should be able to translate their product features into customer benefits, into customer value. So here's one very brief example why it is so important to focus on building real value for customers. During the research, I had a chance to talk to one of the startup founders who have raised $11 million. So they couldn't say that, well, money was an issue. So they had $11 million. You need to have a great imagination where to spend it, $11 million. So, well, money was not an issue. They have entered into 13 country markets. So you couldn't say that, well, I was unlucky to be born in Lithuania, in Serbia, or any other smaller country. No, they were in 13 countries already. They had users from 13 countries. They had a team of more than 150 people. So you couldn't say that we were 2 unlucky co-founders and we didn't manage to do everything on our own. No, they had 150 employees and team members. Well, and what's most interesting, they had millions of users, but money ran out and this startup was closed. They went bankrupt. If we would have a live discussion with the audience, with startups, I would advise to ask these startups, why do they think this might have happened? Because, well, you have investment, you were in 13 countries, you had team, you had million users, but the startup went bankrupt. Everything looked very awesome, but finally it turned it down. And the very interesting thing was, I can't reveal the name of the startup because there were 2 worldwide known investors putting their money into the startup. And that's why I can't reveal this. One of the co-founders said, well, yes, you could tell our name. And actually, if somebody would Google that, they could find on the 2nd or 3rd page of Google what the startup that was. So the main reason of failure of this startup is actually creating value. They had millions of users, but these users were free users. They were not paying. This was a freemium model. And only later, when money was like running low, they thought, well, advertising, earning money on advertising was not confirmed as a good strategy. It was not enough to cover their costs. They said we need to to launch the premium version of our product, of our software. So they did that, but in order to make premium version more attractive, they took some features from freemium version. And that made literally killing their app. People started hating them because said, well, you are asking us now to pay money for what was previously free. And it was not a big amount of money. It was roughly maybe $5 or $9 per month. And just imagine, investors put $11 million in building that product, and user says, well, are you willing to take $5 from me? No, it's not worth for me. So that's how it is so important to build real value from the very beginning when you start developing your startup. How to do that? Customer journey. How well do you know your potential customer? What is their usual journey without your product? And if you don't know how your customer is feeling now, how he or she is behaving, how they are trying to solve their current problem now, why do you think you will be able to build the best possible solution for them? So you need to draw to design the customer journey map without your product. The next thing is to build your value proposition. And well, this topic is really greatly covered in the manual. And there's the rule, 10x rule. It is said, if you are building a startup and you want to achieve viral growth, or to have such term as like a viral growth or growth hacking, you need to build 10 times better value, 10 times bigger value compared to your current competitors. Well, nobody will argue with you if you will be able to build just 3 times better product, 3 times better value proposition than your current competitors. But the main thing is here, we are not talking about 10 or 5% increase in value proposition, in value for your customer, but we are talking about increasing value in times, in hundreds of percents. Only in this case, we might think about achieving viral growth and like word of mouth advertising. Otherwise, well, it doesn't make sense for somebody to recommend us because it's not really so great value proposition. The next thing, customer experience with your product, with your value proposition, with your solution. Is it significantly better or not? And this is very important if you want to understand if your product solves that problem. Is it the better solution? And what's most important for entrepreneurs, for startup founders who are entrepreneurs, where and how you're going to be able to sell your value proposition to your potential customers, how you could communicate these benefits and value points through customer experience. Well, and how to end up, you probably heard about this famous phrase, I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse. So it's very advisable for startups to have their irresistible offer. Basically, it means that this offer is too good to be rejected by a target customer. And if we have more time, we could go into a few examples of these irresistible offers. And well, one of the examples of the irresistible offer could be Domino Pizza. When they started in the US, they said hot, fresh pizza in 30 minutes or it's free. So if you're hungry, if you want pizza, you will get pizza. It will be hot, fresh. They were not communicating about the taste of pizza, which was actually awful at that time. And if they didn't manage to deliver you in 30 minutes, they would give you an extra coupon. The next time you would get the pizza for free. So if you're hungry, if you want pizza, this was probably the best solution at that time. Well, the third principle in marketing, fail fast in marketing. More than 98% of startups who did experiments, they acknowledged that definitely it made their startup development more structured, saved more money, reduced risk, and helped to see even new possibilities and to make pivots that otherwise couldn't be seen. So what do you need to test in market? And we are covering these topics because it's vital when we will start about discussing how we could validate. Before that, we need to know what we need to validate. So first of all, we need to know the problem. Are we trying to solve really important problem? So how painful is the problem? If you would have to give the grade from 1 to 10, where 1 is meaningless problem and 10 is the terrible headache that people are dying of it. So startups should be focusing on building solutions for problems that are graded at 8 and higher grade. If it's lower, it will be much more difficult to sell. So we need to find really significant problem. Solution. Is your solution better than current alternatives? Come on, maybe you're addressing really tremendous problem, but if your solution is not awesome, if it's not much better than current alternatives in the market, well, why should somebody choose it? You need to validate if your solution is okay. Now we meet the price again. It's so vital. There is a saying that 3F doesn't count. 3F stands for friends, family, and fools. If you try to put your startup idea and try to sell your product, your service, or just generally introduce your value proposition to your friends, family, and some awkward fools like Adam's family, and they said, yes, this is awesome product, well, it doesn't mean anything to you. And saying is not the same as paying. So ask potential customers to vote with their money. Only when they put their money in their mouth, you will be sure that your idea is validated, that you are solving really significant problem, that your solution is really good, and the price is acceptable and pricing model is acceptable for your target audience. So you need to ask your customers to vote with their money. Finally, distribution. Do you have effective communication and distribution channels, and how much it will cost you to get one customer? So here's an example why it is so crucial important. I guess you probably all know Dropbox, and maybe most of us are users of Dropbox. So at the early stage, Dropbox thought and tested that search engine marketing, it means like advertising on Google, on Bing, on any search engine, might be and should be the best distribution channel for them, because they were targeting those IT specialists who needed online store, like online server. And they said, well, if people are looking for this service, for this storage, we will show that, well, we are on the market. But before putting all of their money, efforts, and strategy points towards that distribution channel, they made test. And they found out that acquiring new customer cost them $230. Well, is it large amount or acceptable? The fact that their product, their premium version of the product costs only $99, it means they need to keep customer being paying customer for 3 years to go break even. It means they won't earn anything if customer leaves after 2 years being paid customer. It's a terrible situation. And just have in mind that Google Drive and other competitors are breathing to their back. And why should you be paying to Google to promote your service when Google itself is your competitor? So it's not a very wise solution. Then what they decided, they focused on viral marketing and built a referral marketing program that finally worked very, very well. The program was like recommend Dropbox to your friends. You and your friend will get 250 megabytes for free permanently. Later on, they raised that to 500 megabytes. So the more friends you invite, the more free storage you get. So the initial plan of Dropbox was 2 gigabytes. Now I have 8 gigabytes and more. So I was a fan of Dropbox. So I also invited many, many friends because of that referral program. So startups should test their search, their marketing channels and their distribution channels. Not necessarily the first channel that seems the right is actually the right one. So the final principle in marketing is start marketing with a small budget. 36% of startups who were already on the market, they had consistent marketing plan, but other startups were just waiting for something. It means 2 out of 3 startups who are already on the market, who are already selling and trying to promote their product somehow, they don't have a marketing plan. Why? What you need to do and initially, and that doesn't require a huge budget. So first of all, we should start focusing on building the MVP, minimal viable product. And well, customer interviews and market experiments could be done with really tiny marketing budgets. And some startups manage to do that even without a budget. And yes, it is possible, but it takes more time and more of your personal skills. Testimonials. It is possible to get customer testimonials even before the launch. When nobody knows about your product, you could collect your customer testimonials. Would you be able to tell me how it is possible? Anyone? how it is possible to get customer testimonials when your product is not on the market yet.
Maybe when we talk with them to just explain how the product will be done and what will be those actions that can done without product.
Exactly. This is one of the ways you could introduce them. And even the better way is to do the beta launch. Like you're not launching commercially yet your product, you are building just your prototype that delivers some value. You could attract, you could invite beta users, get feedback from them, improve your product based on that feedback. And then when you will be launching commercially, officially your product, you can have 5, 10, or 50 customer reviews and testimonials that how awesome this product is. Well, this is really possible, and it doesn't cost much money. The third thing is marketing plan. Crafting your positioning statement, marketing strategy, and preparing your marketing plan requires effort, not money. So if startup comes to investor and says, well, we will build our marketing plan based on how much money we're going to have for marketing, it sounds reasonable for some, but it is a better situation when startup comes to pitching and says, well, we are fundraising, we are going for 200K euros or dollars whatsoever, and here's our marketing plan. This is how we plan to achieve our market traction goals. This is what channels we plan to use. This is what we expect our customer acquisition cost to be, because we did some market experiments. We have some numbers here to back up our statements. But guys, if you're not ready, if you're not willing to invest 200K in our startup, here are these goals that we could achieve with 100K. And if you achieve 100K, our marketing plan would be smaller scale. We would use maybe different channels. These numbers would be that we would expect to achieve with 100K. So which one of the startups would look better in the eyes of potential investors? Well, definitely that one that has marketing plan for both scenarios. So preparing marketing plan doesn't require you to spend any money on that. You just need to put some efforts and to put some thoughts. And if Business Incubator has a network of mentors, well, this topic was also covered in the manual. So mentors might be really useful resource for startups to prepare their marketing plans and to prepare their go-to-market strategies to back it up. Well, sales and feedback, it's vital point, and at the initial stage of startup development, it can't be outsourced. Well, technically, yes, you can outsource everything to anyone, but it's not advisable. So more than 1,000 startups said, well, this is one of the most painful mistakes we made when we try to outsource our initial sales to somebody else, to some outside person. Why? Because if you are a founder, you need to be in the front lines. You need to talk to your customers. You need to see where your value proposition gets stuck and what's the feedback from potential customers and how you could improve your product, your sales strategy, and well, anything else. When all that process done by startup founder already goes smoothly, when there are no major blocks, and then you can outsource this. Then you can hire, well, your sales manager or marketing manager to take some workload out from your shoulders as startup founder. And here's an example of Marketo, one tool for marketers. It's like a digital marketing tool, one of the most expensive tools on the market currently available, and it's really good example. So how the hell they could sell their product at probably at one of the highest prices in the market, and actually they did that without a budget for marketing initially. So these founders of the startup, they started blog about the problems they intended to solve. Marketo founders saw that marketing automation tools are not sufficient, that email marketing and some other tools are not as good as they could be, and they started writing the blog post. Actually, that was one of the co-founders who said, well, don't put our money into building that software. First of all, let's build the audience. Let's check what people think about these problems that we see. Remember, we talked that we need to check our problem and to validate it. So first of all, they started writing the blog post about problems they saw. Instead of beta testing, instead of building software, they asked for feedback about their articles. And how do you think they could make decisions based on that? Definitely, if the blog post was shared by multiple people, it was if it was if it was very, very often commented, they got many views. These guys said, well, this feature definitely should be included into our Marketo software because people are interested in that. They are recommending to each to other that this, well, here is the work around about that particular problem. So we need to build it. And if another blog post was not so so successful, did these startup founders got upset? No, they simply got the indication that, well, they see this as a problem, but most target customers, most of their audience, they don't see it as a problem. And is it worth building it? No. So they don't have to spend money on building these features into their software because nobody will be willing to pay for that. Why they won't be willing to pay for that? Well, because they even didn't share the post. They didn't read it. They didn't comment on it. So why the hell should they spend money? No, they won't be spending money. The interesting fact was that they built a list of 14,000 interested buyers before even the product was created. At a certain time before building that software, these guys said, well, to their blog audience, well, you already know what we are talking about. We are going to cover these and that, this and that topic, and we want to build the software. And we think that the software will solve these particular problems. Are there anyone who is interested in getting access to the software once it is available? I'm not sure if they were trying to pre-sell, probably no. They were just simply saying that, well, we are building the software. It will be a SaaS, software as a service. There will be a certain fee for using the software. But if you are interested in this, give us your contact details and we will get in, and we will let you know when that software is. So just imagine if you have 14,000 potential interested buyers in your startup product, well, even if 1%, even if a couple of percent will be will become actual customers, it will be really good indicator. So at that moment, you can start building your product. And the interesting thing is that monthly fee of Marketo now is starts at almost $900, and the full feature package costs more than $3,000. In comparison, MailChimp, if you have up to 2,000 connections, up to 2,000 email addresses, you can use MailChimp for free. While Marketo says, guys, let's start from $900 per month. That's it. Why? Because they managed to identify key problems, the most painful problems for those top-level marketers who are really great specialists at digital marketing and marketing automation industry. Well, now let's get down to the roadmap, to main steps, how startups could ensure that their product will have some sales, and generally how to validate your product idea. Up till now, we covered main reasons why most startups fail. This is one. And the second topic we covered, what are 4 core principles of startup marketing? It means we need to have those 4 core principles in our mind when we will be walking through the founder's roadmap. Then it will make sense to you why one or another step is a must for a startup to work it through. So most startup founders think, and it's a cliche, you need to have a great idea. You need to build an awesome product. Probably you need to use design thinking to create awesome product, awesome value proposition, and then you will have sales because this great value proposition will find a fit in the market and everything's going to be okay. But the reality is slightly different. Founder's journey is not such a short walk, and you need to do pretty much homework before even going into the market and before even spending your money on building an actual product. So this roadmap that I will share with you, sorry, is applicable to almost any industry. I've been giving away this roadmap for 2 or 3 years, something like that. And up till now, I still haven't found an industry that couldn't benefit from this roadmap. I even had a chance to do a workshop, a live workshop for biotechnology startups. And I was, very modest about this framework and said, well, maybe this won't be very good for you. Maybe, because in the biotech, you have huge time periods to prepare your product. It's very difficult to test them in advance and et cetera, et cetera. But when they introduced that framework, even biotech startups said, well, Donatas, half of that roadmap we've already worked. And this is really great that we see next steps or what we need to do. So if you find that particular industry or business sector can't benefit from it, well, you could reach me out, let me know. It will be very personally interesting to me if it's actually true or not, or maybe we will find the workaround how this framework could be used in that particular industry. So up to now, almost any industry. This framework is based on research of more than 1,000 startups, and the best practices was put from the research. What I was doing in that research, I was asking guys, what mistakes you wouldn't do again? And if you would be launching another one startup, what methodologies, what tools, and generally what decisions would you make? And based on that, I've created that founder's roadmap. When they shared that with experts, more than 30 international experts said, well, this is the thing that we should start thinking from the very beginning when we start building our startup ecosystem, and startups should focus on that. So here's an example of Autopixie. Patricia, she was from Ireland. I'm showing this startup not because she implemented this framework, but I met Patricia during the research, and she was really great example how she did most of these steps in her particular startup. So generally, this lady was more than 50 years old, and she was willing to build something from IT, like a software, an app. She had the passion in that area, and she also wanted to do something with auto repair business. From the early childhood, she was willing to have an auto repair shop or to do something with repairing cars. But her parents said, no, Patricia, you will go to business school, you will have your MBA, and you will be doing some business about that. Now, when she got older, when she got some experience, she said, I'd like to build an app for auto repair shops, how to improve their business. But it's like kind of vague statement. So she needed to figure out how exactly this particular app could improve a business. Once I talked with her, she said that initially she had 15, 16 ideas what an app could do. But later on, there were even more ideas after interviews. But at the very, very end, when she started thinking about, well, it's about time to pay money to developers to build an app, she focused just on 3 value points: how to increase customer loyalty, how to make decisions more rapid, and how to eliminate paperwork in auto repair shops. So the headache number 1 for most repair shops was rapid decision making. Because when you bring your car to auto repair shop, the mechanic needs to explain you why he suggests you to repair this. Is it really necessary to change your brake system, or it's really necessary to change oil in your car right now? So it takes time. And some customers say, well, I need to hear another one opinion, and they drive to another one auto repair shop to get another opinion from another mechanic. And again, these both mechanics spend their time, but none of those get customers. This is the problem. So an app could, not sure if I put how an app looks like, but generally the client installs the app, and the auto repair shop also installs the app. And when mechanic goes through the checkup, he says, well, we have some issues with brakes, and he marks that, well, I can fix these I don't know, things in 2 days, in 3 days. It will cost you this amount of money, and we will need to purchase new auto car parts or something like that. And the owner of the car receives like an in-app message. Well, the mechanic already did the checkup of your system, and you just need to check to confirm. Well, do you need me to fix this, or you don't need to fix me? And the owner of the car doesn't bother the mechanic asking, well, what the brake system does in my car, is it really necessary to repair it? Come on, in that app, it would be written, well, if you don't repair your brake system, you will be killed in car accident. But it's not vital to change your car oils right now. You can do that a bit later, but well, here's the good discount. That's it. So 3 major points. How did Patricia arrive to that? She had interview with 106 repair shops in 5 countries. Even though she was from Ireland and she initially started talking to auto repair shops in Ireland, she said, I want to build an app for global market. So she started talking with auto repair shops in UK, in US, and a couple of other countries. With some of those auto repair shop owners, she had 5 or 6 meetings. So it means she came back again and again, asking and showing what she did and what she's working on, and trying to get more in depth, trying to understand better what kind of problems I was solving for these auto repair shops. This is very interesting fact that she built 26 prototypes on PowerPoint. What does that mean? It means that Patricia, the founder of AutoPixie, 25 times was wrong. She designed an app on PowerPoint. It's easy to be done. Well, you can do it for free. You don't even need to spend any money for developers to build your app. You could show on PowerPoint slide like, well, if you click this button, you will go to this page. If you click to this, you will go to that page. And a simple advice for startups who want to have more robust MVPs, you could use such tools like Pidoko.com that also have free version. You can do your online mockups and for apps, for software, and definitely for websites. Patricia did that in the old school way, simply on PowerPoint. So it means that the prototype number 26 was the right one. Eventually, she did the $5,000 experiment, and she got 3 yes out of 3 requests. What I mean by that? When she got the feeling that prototype number 26 is more or less okay to go into the market, that this is the right one thing to be built, she estimated that roughly she needs about $30,000 to build an app. Yeah, definitely she was wrong, and the cost went much higher when she started developing it. But generally, she saw, well, 30,000 K. How can I test that? Then she said, let's go to 10 auto repair shops to whom I already talked and propose them the deal. Well, I have $15,000 and I need another one, $15,000. So if you invest $5,000 into this app, it means I will give you this app forever free. Like you will get premium version lifetime ever, like free tool. You don't get any shares, you don't get any revenue from sales, but it will allow me to start building this tool right now. I will manage to get other funds again, and we will start building this tool. If it's good to you, you invest 5,000 K, you will get this tool as soon as possible. And 3 auto repair shops out of 3, the first ones, said yes. And these auto repair shops were not the largest ones, far not the largest one. When she talked to additional repair shops, I don't want to be mistaken, but 5 or 6 out of 10 said, yes, this is an interesting deal, and we would like to pre-purchase, like to buy in advance and access to this software, to this app, because it could be beneficial for our business and we see the actual payback in that. So how about such validation? Before spending anything on development, just like getting money in advance. Remember, we talked that you need to ask your customers to vote with their money, not with their words. So this is what exactly Patricia did. And remember, we talked about testimonials. So I'm not sure if these 3 guys are those who agreed to pay five grand each, but these people said, well, this is what we think about AutoPixie app. And this app was not built at that time, but Patricia already got their reviews. What she actually achieved, she got 20,000 euros government grant from Ireland. She even got a government investment contract for because her app was useful for small business, for SMEs. And government said, well, we might be willing to invest not a very significant amount of money, but here's what we could do. She got also shortlisted onto one of the world's top accelerators in the US. And this is probably the most interesting thing, that Silicon Valley Angel Syndicate prepared $500,000 to invest in this app at the condition that when Patricia with AutoPixie finishes the acceleration process in that accelerator, Angel Syndicate will invest this amount of money in scaling this this app. So how about that? Well, it's like a success story for one startup, but it could be copied, it could be multiplied and done even into a smaller scale. In order your startups to succeed, you don't necessarily have to ask for $500,000 of investment in advance. No. So here is the roadmap, which works quite well for almost any type of startup in any industry. So the first thing is, what we need to do, we need to define your business idea and, well, business model canvas, or for startups, I strongly suggest to use lean canvas instead of business idea canvas, because lean canvas is like developed by Ash Moria from the same business model canvas, but has additional points like your unfair competitive advantage, your key metrics that are more important to technology startups and true innovation-based startups rather than traditional businesses. So first of all, draw your business idea on lean canvas or on business model canvas. It will serve you like a table of contents of what you need to validate, what you need to test in the market. Like if you can't make your business idea on a single page, it means it's too complicated to be implemented in most cases. The next step is to define who your ideal customer is. So the target customer persona, who is she or he, and well, what struggles does this person have? I personally advise to prepare not just like a traditional marketing segmentation scheme, but to build a customer persona, like a personified avatar of your ideal customer. The next thing is to define customer journey map without your product. Remember, we talked in one of the core marketing principles that you need to understand how your customer is behaving right now, how he or she is solving currently that problem that you intend to help them to solve. So how does customer solve it at the moment? So do you understand this correctly or not? At this stage, you need some kind of go outside of the building and talk to real people. Up till now, these three steps, like business model, ideal customer, customer journey map, you could do it like your homework, like you could be closed in your own room, dormitory, or anywhere else. But when we come to the fourth step, you need to meet real people. Remember, Patricia had interviews with more than 100 mechanics. So your startups need to do the same. You need to talk to customers. And the main goal here is to check if you understand your customers correctly. So generally, are you talking to your ideal customers, and do they have that problem that you think they have? And do you understand the customer journey correctly? In most cases, I can't say that in numbers, but roughly it would be 80–90% of all cases, you will get new insights how the customer journey map looks like. Because people will tell you, well, I'm using this solution. Well, this is not a big thing for me because I know this or that. And then you can update your customer journey map. But let's say you did the customer interview, you updated your customer journey map. You say, well, I know what's my business model. I know who my ideal customer is. I'm pretty sure how the customer journey map looks like now. So the next thing is to define, to build your value proposition. So what is your core offer? Yet here we are not speaking about all these marketing tips and tricks, how to introduce that into marketing, but generally, who are you, what do you sell, and why somebody should believe in you? So what's your value proposition? Well, this topic is also covered in manual, and additional tools are provided. So you need to define your value proposition. Next, once you have your value proposition, you need to evaluate your business environment. Remember, the first marketing principle, research matters. and competitors are not the only ones you should be aware of. You need to test if the market size is significant enough and if your value proposition will find that spot in the market. If it's okay, if you see that microenvironment factors and macroenvironment factors are okay, are good to go to you, then we can proceed to the next step. But let me briefly to share with you a very short example. I had a chance to talk with one startup in US that was in 2016. Everything looked awesome to them, and they were trying to build a platform that could be positioned like a Uber for drones. If you need a drone, many people have drones, and more than 90% of that time, those drones are not used. They simply, well, are put somewhere on shelf. So this startup said, why not allow people who own drones to earn some extra cash by renting their drones? So they saw that it's technically possible to build charging stations on skyscrapers and in large cities. And they saw the market demand for that, like car accidents, like insurance companies for some house accidents, like the hurricane comes and takes the roof out. So how to check what's the damage? You simply could rent the drone, fly over the house, make some photos or videos, and well, that's it. The insurance agent still sitting in the office drinking coffee could have his report backed up with real solid facts. So everything looked really amazing, and they already got some market validation that people were willing to give away their drones for a certain fee, expecting to earn this amount of money. Their initial ideal customers were insurance companies, and they said, well, definitely yes, we would be willing to run these services in these particular areas, but probably it's not very difficult for you to understand right now when we can look back up that macro environment factor legislation system was not fully functioning at that time. There was no reglement set for using drones in public areas. And that startup understood that few versions of the law are coming up, and none of the version of the law is very favorable to them. So they will have multiple restrictions, they will have some lawsuits and other problems. So at that stage, like after checking their business environment, they simply abandoned their idea. They didn't invest in building the platform, in onboarding more customers, and even doing any additional calculations or going for fundraising, because they understood simply the legislation will kill their startup. So it doesn't make sense to move further. But okay, let's say your startup checked the business environment and indications are more or less okay. The next thing is to do some calculations, to decide what your revenue model is. In the very first step in your business model, you already should have indicated what your revenue model is. But after talking to customers, after doing your business environment research, you might come to some modifications of your business model, and it's very important to do the math. So will these possible potential revenues cover your costs? Well, there's a certain type of startups called viable startups that are built in order to be sold to larger companies. It means I'm building a startup. I'm not hoping to earn profit with the startup, but I expect to sell my startup to some behemoth in the market and get my millions after the business sale deal is closed. Well, this is possible, but not for most startups. Most startups need to think about being financially viable. And if your startup is financially viable, you will be much more attractive for any investor. So let's do the math. If you see that everything is more or less okay with your financials, that it is realistic to achieve a certain amount of customers at certain price level, you believe this is possible. At this stage, it's enough to have some belief, some faith in it. You can move to the next step. But if some of those figures and calculations look awkward to you, if you're not sure, if you don't feel good about that, well, there's the line that says let's get back and reduce some previous steps to make the math, the business math, work better for us. Okay, let's say revenue models and financials look good enough to go. The next step is to formulate your main hypothesis. We already talked about that you need to check the problem, the solution, the pricing, and possible distribution and marketing communication channels. So, it's not important what you assume or expect with your startup to be in the future, but you need to have real facts and proofs, data from real life. So at this stage, you need to fill your experiment cards to prepare your main statements. What needs to be true for your startup to succeed? Generally, at least 4 main hypotheses need to be confirmed. And well, I haven't met a single startup in that research who could say that, well, all our initial hypotheses were true and we didn't have to make pivot. All of these startups, not almost, but absolutely all of those startups who took part in the research said that we had to do at least one major change in our startup business model after we got our face with the market, when we tested in the real life, in real conditions, our business hypothesis. So how to test your hypothesis? It's not enough, to write down them and expect miracle to happen or some expert or mentor to answer those. It's also one of the most common mistakes that some early stage startups that have no major experience in building their business, they say, if somebody invests in our startup, it generally validates that our startup idea is good. It's not true. Remember, we already talked about the example of $11 million fundraised and still going bankrupt. So if investor puts his money in your startup, it doesn't mean anything except the fact that you made a good sale to a potential investor, that you sold them the dream about, well, earning money or conquering the world. What you need to do, you need to get to the reality check. And how to do that? There are multiple types of MVPs, but in this Founders Roadmap, I recommend using the combination of landing page and sales funnel or lead funnel MVP. So it's kind of universal tool. Why? Because on a landing page on a website, you can pitch your idea, any idea. You can present your service, your software, your app, I don't know, anything, and you can ask for different actions to be taken on your website. I will show a few examples of those. So generally, if you can't communicate your startup value proposition on the landing page, on the website, so how the hell do you plan to sell your stuff? Well, you need to be able to communicate that on the landing page. And just imagine if 1,000 people came to your landing page, if these 1,000 people were targeted potential customers that you thought that they are potential customers to your startup, and none of those even left an email to you, they didn't give you contact details, they haven't downloaded your lead magnet, what does that say? It says that your pitch, that your solution, that your value proposition is not good enough. So you shouldn't be building it. You don't know how to sell it. So the first part of your MVP is to build the landing page, and I will share some tips how this could be done in a more efficient way. The next step is to design your funnel. Well, those who are in marketing know what the lead funnel is, what the sale funnel is. I will show an example of that. But generally, it means the whole journey, the whole way, how potential and aware person becomes your actual customer, the ideal case scenario. So how will you find new clients? And if you could check how the customer journey goes within your sales or lead funnel, you could very clearly see where you have holes in your assumptions and which of your hypotheses are not good enough. Generally, it means on landing page, you can pitch your solution and check if your solution is good enough. But when you build your funnel, you start advertising maybe the problem. And if nobody clicks on your ads, if nobody arrives into your sales funnel, it means the problem is not very significant to those. If your sales funnel is not a lead funnel, but a sales funnel, you are asking people to pay money in advance to pre-buy, pre-purchase, pre-subscribe, like a lifetime deal or anything like that. You can even get the validation of your pricing strategy. So be aware of that. The next thing is, when you have your MVP built, you need to drive traffic. It's not enough to build the landing page and to design your sales or lead funnel. You need to get exposure. You need to communicate through different channels to attract these potential customers into your MVP. And this is where marketing budget in most cases is needed. So generally, few years ago, and sometimes even now, it is possible to do some tests without money right here, like to spread the news, but the organic reach through social media and through other channels is very, very, very poor unless you build the audience, unless you build partnerships with other influencers in particular industry, then okay. But the easiest and the fastest way is to throw 500 up to 1,000 euros into advertising and to check which of your advertising is working and which is not working, and to check how much does it cost for you to acquire one lead or one sale through your funnel and through your landing or sales page. So simply put some money and drive some traffic into your funnel. The next step is to make decisions already based on facts. So remember, before that, we had just some assumptions. We had some interviews like chats, talks with potential customers, but now you have pure facts. So there's nothing personal, and it's time to replace your initial assumptions and hypotheses with real facts. So it's like a hardcore decision. Well, how much does it cost you to get one potential visitor to the website? How much does it cost to convert it into the lead? How much time and money does it take you to convert that lead into an actual customer? Boom, that's it. And if it's good to go, then you can go to the next step. If it's not good enough, well, we need to get back to few steps back. Maybe we need to redefine our value proposition. Maybe we need to dig deeper into our problems. If, for instance, we are advertising the solution of the problem and emphasizing the problem, but people are not clicking on our ads, they are not entering our funnel, what the hell does that mean? It means that problem is not so important as we thought. So we need to get back and to try to understand who our customer is, ideal customer is, and what problems we should be focusing on. It's not necessary, it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to build the solution or change the problem. Maybe we simply need to change the communication and towards the different problem. But let's say at that step, we made fact-based decision, which looks more or less okay. Maybe, and in most cases, you won't be profitable at that stage, but it allows you to think about optimizing your sales, like cross-sell, upsell, and sometimes even downsell offers. And finally, prepare your marketing plan on one page, prepare for scaling. It means if you have all your startup ideas validated, you see that you can get traction enough, you can prepare your marketing plan on one page and you can go to investors and to say, guys, we've invested $1,000 and we got these results. So we are pretty sure that if we invest 50K or 100K, we assume we'll get these results, more or less. And plus, we have already optimized our sales funnel. We have optimized our landing page, and here's our A/B testing that allows us to think that results will be even better in the future. That's it, the whole story about the founders roadmap. And if we still have some time, and I see yes, we still have some time, I'd like to go into some details how exactly to build the landing page and not like step by step what tools to use and how to do that, but what's the most important building your landing page as part of your MVP, and what is so important about building correctly the sales or lead funnel, and I will show you a couple of examples of those. So combined MVP system, like landing page allows to check your value proposition, because on the landing page you pitch your value proposition, you state what you plan, what you expect to deliver. And it also can allow you to check your pricing system. Well, if you want to get the software for $99 per month or lifetime deal at $200, well, you can see if people are purchasing it or not. And what you could do there, you could do the A/B testing, you could do micro surveys on your landing page, you could use the explainer MVP. It means like the Dropbox did initially. They didn't have a software, they didn't have the technical solution. the founder of Dropbox, simply recorded the video how he throws one file in the folder in one computer and goes to the next computer and opens the same folder and checks the same file. Obviously, this file was duplicated, copied in advance, prepared in advance, but it really clearly illustrated in the video how the Dropbox works. So you could do the same. Maybe you could do the same with your startups, like explaining the video. Or of course, you could combine the fake doors MVP, but this could take a bit more longer to explain. But in any case, the landing page, what I mean by that allows you to combine different types of MVP into the landing page. Well, the next part of combined MVP system is your lead funnel. The lead funnel allows you to test problem, solutions, and channels, whether we are talking about communication channels or distribution channels. And what other MVP types you could use in your lead funnel as an add-on to your MVP. Here are ad campaigns, blogs and forums, and audience building. This works really well to emphasize the power of your lead funnel. And eventually, you have cost-effective MVP. So it doesn't cost huge money to build the landing page and the lead funnel. And there are even free tools or like one-time fee tools of $99 or something like that. And you can build the landing page. I'm not the developer, but I built the MVP tool, the similar MVP tool for my book launch. And even before launching my book, I already had more than 14,000 people, well, yeah, very similar number to the Marketo, of people who were waiting for my book release. In that landing page, I said, guys, here is the book that I plan to write and to finish and to publish it at this time. And if you want to get the message when the book is already published and available at the best possible price, because the first customers could get it within 7 days from the launch at the lowest possible price on Kindle. If you want, well, just let me know your email, where should I send it? So I've collected more than 14,000 emails using the landing page and the lead funnel. Well, and how much does it cost me? I simply purchased one tool at $49 one-time fee and build on the WordPress. I'm not IT guy, I'm not the IT specialist, but I managed to do that well without wasting too much of the time. So I'm pretty sure that most of startup founders can use the system even without technical knowledge on coding the landing page or particularly knowing crazy stuff in marketing. Well, about landing pages, what's important to understand here? There are two types of landing pages that we already discussed. So the first one is the lead page and the second one is the sales page. In the lead page, your goal is to build the list of potential clients. Like before launching the book, I can't sell it, and well, it's not very convenient, and I wouldn't feel very good taking money in advance from people for the book that is not written yet. So I said, well, I will be building the lead page, and I will collect leads for building the list of potential clients. What can I test here? I can test problem, channels, and the concept of solution. Because in the lead page, you can describe how your solution works. And if it's good for your potential customers, they can leave you potential contact details. That's it. On the sales page, the goal is to sell or pre-sell your product and actually get paid, like voting with money. And what you can test here you can test solution, pricing, marketing channels, and messages. So the lead page is faster to build, it's easier to build, but sales page is like more ensured MVP. If you go through the sales page option, you will get you will get stronger confirmation from the market that your product actually is needed in the market. But well, this could be done stage by stage. You could start with lead page, then you could move to the sales page. So key elements of the landing page. I won't go into technical details, but from the digital marketing perspective. First of all, you need to have your value proposition. That's well, it's also covered in the manual, and we talked multiple times about that today. The next thing is you need to have your lead magnet, the reason why the hell people should leave their contact details, why they should give their contact details to you. And finally, you need to have call to action and lead capture system. How are you going to capture these leads? I've also mentioned the MailChimp, MailerLite, and some other tools that are free up to a certain level. Well, this is not a technical issue how to capture these leads, but you need to think about that in advance. It allows you testing idea and it's very important to build credibility with the landing page. And it's also important to think from the usability perspective. During our one of the previous webinars, I've discovered the e-business aspects like usability and SEO and other things. So for startups that want to build the landing page, usability is also vitally important. So if it's inconvenient for your customer to get some lead magnet, from you, well, will they think that your solution will be better than your landing page? So if you're not able to build really convenient landing page, will you be able to build convenient product? No. So usability is crucially important on your landing page as well. Well, landing page, which is very important, should have all navigation and extra links removed, so there is only a single action for your visitors to take if you want to go hardcore. Well, and this is really advised for early stage startups to validate their ideas. Why? Because if you give some additional links, if you give some menu links, those visitors will start clicking somewhere around, and they won't be clicking your call to action button so often as you would like. So at the initial stage, it would be advised to remove all that extra visual noise from your landing page. Well, effective landing page has only one goal and one call to action. This could be like a free trial. This could be called to schedule a call, register to event. It could be the pre-order. It could be getting into the waiting list. It could be downloading the file. It could be get the discount code, access to resources, register to win something, and anything else what you think. But generally, there should be only one goal and one call to action for your potential customers on your landing page. Otherwise, well, it won't be as efficient as it could be. The second thing, you need to match your headline with your call to action. And here's a very short example, like call to action message and landing page headline. Like if you advertise, get your dream job in 30 days or less, and when someone clicks on your ad and goes to the landing page and there's written, welcome to the XYZ job search portal. Okay, come on, but where can I get my dream job in 30 days? So the far better version would be like, if they land on your landing page, they see the headline, get your dream job in 30 days or less with XYZ, like you introducing your company and you keeping the same call to action, the same value proposition from the ad down to your landing page. Next thing is that no menu points, we already talked about that, no redirections, and trust. You need to build trust by showing reviews, testimonials, any credibility points that would show that you are a legitimate business entity and that your solution is really like trustworthy. Come on, that you are not a scammer. Visual, your website needs to be, well, it's a must right now. You can't have a luxury to build a poor website. And why? It doesn't cost a dime actually. On these two websites, and I bet there are many more of those websites where you can get stock photos and stock videos for free. Not all of those, but quite many of those. So why not to use those? Because if your website doesn't look visually appealing, it's like a psychological effect that it's you will get more resistance from potential customers. So don't do that. Simply make everything visually as beautiful as possible, and it doesn't have to cost you money, and doesn't have to cost your startups money. Well, sales funnel. Very briefly about that. Startup needs to confirm problem. The startup also needs to confirm solution. They need to confirm if they are proposing the solution to the right segment, and if the solution is priced at the right price level, at the correct pricing and revenue model, and if you are reaching out these potential customers through different channels. So generally, we have 5 major like hypothesis points that you need to test. And this could be done with digital marketing and with this combined MVP system, the landing page and your like sales funnel or at least lead funnel page. So it's not a new thing. I'm not sure if you were aware of this thing like a sales pipeline. it's quite an old concept, but it very, very well serves in this case. So first of all, we have like website visitors from different sources. Okay, earned media, paid media, social media, or whatsoever. You simply have your landing page and you pour visitors, you drive traffic to your landing page. On the landing page, for instance, you can have a sign up call to action, like sign up to the waiting list to get the notification when this awesome product is released by this startup. Maybe then you can have some download page that while you're waiting, here's the report, or here's special instructions how to solve particular problem while you are waiting for our product to be created. Then you can track active users. Have they actually downloaded that file or not yet? It's trackable. And eventually you have paying users and evangelists. Like, well, you've built the product, you have the list, and you say, guys, you were interested in our product. So here's ta-dam, our product is already launched. You check how many of those became your paid visitors and how many of them became evangelists. So evangelists spread the news and bring new visitors to your landing page and closes the loop. Well, it would be a very, very nice thing, but most startups only can dream about that because they don't put enough efforts in building this stuff. If you ever read about the lean metrics or about pirate metrics, in startup ecosystem, it's very widely known the R metrics, or so-called pirate metrics. That stands for acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. So if you want to be sure that your startup won't get stuck in any major block points on e-business level, it means you have efficient ways to acquire visitors to your website. You have a good tool to activate those visitors. Like activation means you ask them to do some stuff, for instance, to sign up on your website. You have retention. You got their email and you say, hey, Donatas, go and grab your downloadable PDF or watch the video course or whatever you wanted. If I get there, it means they have my retention. The second point of retention, well, you can have 1 point of retention, 3 points of retention. It's up to your business specifics. Revenue, when people start paying money for you, and referral means they start recommending you to others. So it's not a new thing, but it's updated according to the pirate metrics or R metrics: activation, acquisition, activation, retention, revenue, and referral. So why startups should use it? First of all, most startups are based on innovation and people don't look for innovative solutions by default. So you need to educate your potential customers to understand that there is a new solution. Well, you can educate based on the old problem and to show that there are new possible solutions of that problem. And finally, the old ways of advertising are not so effective. You can't hammer into the head of your potential customers that buy my stuff right now. That doesn't work anymore, and it's too expensive for you to do that. So before that, try to get leads first and then upsell to those leads. Then you need to do some workflow and to lead nurture these potential customers until they become your actual customers. So here is the real example of one startup that was working in B2B. And this is real example. It served quite well for those. So they were producing the technical solution how to measure air pollution and monitoring system for factories. And they had huge struggles. They were based in Belarus, and they wanted to get into the European market, into the EU market. And, well, we said, how are we going to do that? And we could talk about that for a couple of hours, but let me explain you very briefly how we designed their possible lead generation funnel. So first of all, we got their value proposition. Get air pollution monitoring around your factory for 2 weeks with full report for free. No obligations required. This sounds like an irresistible offer. So for most factories, well, that in particular countries, it's compulsory to prepare 2 weeks length monitoring systems. And this startup says, well, we can do that for you for free. And well, we just hope that if you like it, you might want to rent our equipment or you might want to buy it. But at least what we want in exchange from you, it won't cost you money, but we want to get a testimonial, a review from you. This is the only one asked from our side. And if you don't like our pollution monitoring system, you can simply say, well, we don't like it. It sucks. It's not good enough, but that's it. The landing page video explains the innovative technology and invites to test it at no cost. It means you go to the landing page and says, well, get air pollution monitoring around your factory for 2 weeks with full report for free. When you click yes, I want to get it, then there's a question, like a short poll comes out. Okay, what do you represent? Municipality, non-government organization, factory, or something else? If you represent factory, then you proceed to that following step. Then we ask supplementary questions. Where is your factory situated? In which country? What is the plot area of your factory? Is it less than 5,000 square meters or more? And how do you monitor air pollution right now? Well, these questions are important for us, not just like to set up the best possible technical solution for that factory, but to estimate how good the client is for us. If we found that they are from very, very poor country where there are no strict requirements for air pollution monitoring, if their factory square size is very, very low, and well, if they have some built-in sensors, or if they simply are not looking for a solution, this is not a very good customer for us. So this factory won't get into the priority list to get the equipment for 2 weeks for free. But if it's based in Germany, in UK, in, well, Netherlands, if it's a large factory, and if they are especially looking for solution right now, it's a top priority client for us. It's the ideal client for us, so we want to get to those. Once they fill that questionnaire, they get the email confirmation. Thank you, we received it. And after a while, they get a sales call from some team members discussing when and how they could arrange that stuff. And after that, they handle the lead. So generally, they collect the lead. But this is not the full funnel, actually. If somebody chooses otherwise than factory, like municipality, NGO, we direct them to another explainer video, to another landing page, saying that, well, offer is valid only for factories. If you work in municipality, well, you won't buy our equipment. You won't pay us for our equipment. So come on, invite factories to ask us to deliver this value proposition, or go on your own. Come on. This is very polite video explaining that this offer is not for you. This is just for factories. And here's the very convenient link sharing. So send to your particular interested factories to visit our website. So this would be like more or less about that funnel, but we need to think about how to drive traffic. Well, networking events and trade fairs was one of the best solutions. When they somewhere got introduced to someone, they said, well, this is our landing page, this is our website, and here's our offer. If you got interested, well, go through that sequence and maybe somebody from our team will go. Another source was like targeted ads on Google, some video targeted ads for specialists interested in air pollution control aspects, and joining some Facebook groups. So that's it for B2B lead funnel. I hope it makes sense, and if you will have any questions, I will be glad to answer those questions. And the example for B2C, I just want to show that it works for any of market types. So in this case, on the website, the main call to action was, win this stylish and smart micro farm that makes in-house gardening effortless. The Aaron from Canada made a small furniture inside in which you can grow vegetables and herbs. It has artificial sunlight, and it has watering system. It has some soil placement areas. So generally you can grow salads, onions, radish, any herbs in your flat without any additional stuff, just in that piece of furniture. Quite cool one. So do you want to win this small micro farm that makes your in-house gardening effortless? And again, we go to the quiz, and what do you grow at home? Vegetables, herbs, flowers, none of them. So if somebody says that, well, we grow vegetables or herbs, then we ask them, where do you live? Select the climate zone. If they live in a 4-season climate zone, they are ideal client. If they live in tropic islands, come on, they don't need our farm because they can grow outside. Your windows are faced to north, south, east. Well, depending on climate zone, and on this, we can indicate whether they can grow in balcony these stuff or not? When it comes to in-house gardening, what's your main challenge? Okay, the problem number 1, number 2, number 3, these were actual problems listed. And what would you like to achieve most? Few goals. Based on what they answer, we of course capture their leads. Okay, they submit, the report is based, and we say, well, here's the report based on your supplementary questions. Get your customized report, which provides practical advices how to overcome problem X and how to achieve the goal Y, growing herbs and vegetables in this climate zone. So you don't need any coding skills. There are such tools like a Bucket.io, Outgrow.com, where you can use these tools on monthly basis, on monthly fee basis, and everything can be done for you. So if your target leads as well, yeah, it's interesting for me because, well, this is a serious problem for me. When you have indication that it's important for them, the benefit, the value that you intend to deliver them, it's also important to them. Good, you can capture leads, but based on based on their answers, there are 4 combination areas, like landing pages, like the first, second, third, and fourth, based on which was the problem most important or which was the desired goal most important. You show slightly different videos and you explain that, well, you already signed up to win this in-house gardening furniture. We will have 10 winners on that particular date. That's it. And in addition, what we need to know, if somebody says we grow flowers on none of them, it means, well, in this furniture, you can't grow flowers. That doesn't make sense. Then we don't show these questions, but we show that question. I remind you that it is possible to be done without any coding, simply using digital marketing tools. We simply can ask, why not to grow herbs or even vegetables at home? And they give us a reason. And based on that, if this was a good, for instance, I don't have place, we can redirect them to this one question and say, well, through this furniture, you could grow. But if you don't know, or if you don't want, well, it's not our target customer. We say, sorry, it's not good for us. Go and leave it. And we won't be upselling to this lead anyway. So after the lead has submitted their contact details to our landing page, we managed to create a sharing incentive. Like, each time one of your invited friends join the waiting list, your name is put 5 times in the lucky bowl additionally. It means there will be 10 winners, but if you recommend somebody, we will put your name 5 times in the bowl. It means you have 5 times more chances to win that tiny farm. If you're interested, share it on Pinterest, Facebook. At that time, Google Plus was still available, on Twitter, or whatsoever. And that brought additional traffic to the website. And of course, the initial traffic, like healthy living and gardening blog posts, healthy living communities and events, printed and online journals, and again, video ads on Facebook were also the possibilities to drive traffic to this sales funnel. That's it. So what I want to say by now, that success for startups and for anyone else doesn't come and find you. You need to go and get it. So generally, I showed you the roadmap for startups, how they could validate their idea using digital marketing and digital marketing tools, especially landing pages and sales and lead funnels. And if there are any questions, I would be more than glad to answer those questions.
So we're back to the webinars. So actually you finished all your presentation, as I see. If so, have any questions so related to these, to that topic, so please ask Donatas. We have some a couple of minutes. If not, so I would like to everyone ask to connect tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll talk about digitalization processes, administration processes inside the organization, and our actually one of our startups just share own experience about our own projects with corporates, with investors, what kind of tools he actually creates, and so it will be an interesting conversation between startups, and you can also define a new toolkits which actually they created for corporates. So it will be more practical webinars with sharing experience and then what kind of barriers they have got actually during the businesses, and what happens during the COVID and post-COVID period. Okay, so how they move into shops business and so on. So I'm inviting you tomorrow at the same time, and for today I will just say thank you for Donatas, and well, okay, so waiting and join us for tomorrow. So I wish you to stay safe, and there's tomorrow. Bye. See you.
Bye.